Hey Magic fans, welcome back. Captain Clyde here. Don't have anything to open right now. Got my boxes coming in the mail. Pretty much right now what I'm doing is I'm just sleeving up all my stuff from the list. I told you guys that, I get a play set of 4 of each card. Figured I'd show you that. And actually show you that those binders that I have, I talked about how I care for my cards and how I store them, is actually what I do. You can see here, these are obviously just the commons. I'm probably going to wait until my next case of draft boosters come in. Need a couple more mythics. They're coming in the mail. I can also trade out some of the more expensive cards for some of the cheaper ones that come in those draft boosters. And while I'm doing this, I figured I'd make you guys a quick video. I've had a few questions come in, believe it or not, from a few people about what I do and about a few things. One good question that came up, which made a very valuable point, I didn't really talk about what the expected EV was, or for those of you who don't know what EV means, it's estimated value of the actual set booster box. So I actually went back through and actually did a short calculation. And to be honest with you, the EV came back kind of high. But again, you got to realize that when you talk about EV, what you're talking about, I know there's only 3 of those there. I got to get one from the draft booster box before you guys say anything in the comments. When you talk about EV, it's what's the box value if you were to crack the box and sell all the cards on it. So the average EV I came up with for the set boosters was anywhere from $120 to about $130 a piece. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but Clyde, can that possibly be right? That's actually higher than what the boxes are selling for. So one thing you gotta keep in mind too, when I did this EV and I did my price checking, was I did this in the first couple of weeks that the box came out. And what that means is the market's probably still kind of high on these cards because not all of them have hit circulation yet. People are still trying to buy some of them. So the market value is probably higher than it should have been. So I would probably say closer to the 120 range once the market settles. And maybe even a little lower. But I'm really going to estimate around the 120 range. But then again, you say to yourself, Clyde, people don't do box openings anymore. At least not mass box openings. And the kind of EV that you're talking about hints at the fact that you should do mass box openings. Because if you get the box for 100, you can net gain 20 bucks. If you hit a couple good cards, maybe even more than that. But you got to realize that out of those 3 cases or 18 boxes that I opened, the average value was around 120 to 130. Now it probably got up to 140 on a couple of them, and some of the EV on one of the cases was 145 per box, and that's really good. But the things you got to realize is if you're going to sell this stuff on eBay to a vendor, well, let's just go with eBay. Like, eBay is the easiest place to sell this stuff to try to get your money back. Because vendors are going to try to cut you out about 50%, maybe even give you a little extra if you do a little store credit. But we're talking about cash value here. So what we're wanting is actually money in your pocket. So if you sell on eBay, like I talked before, you're going to lose anywhere from 12 to 16% just in fees. I think my current store, which they have a new thing on it now where it actually tells you what your selling fees are. And it actually does include some shipping fees to a point. And mind you, I have a starter store, which gives me a little bit of bonus over most people who don't have a starter store. And I'm still showing about 22% of my revenue is going to expenses. That's everything from eBay fees, some stuff in the mail. It doesn't include stamps and things like that I buy myself, but it does include any kind of postage or things like that I would actually buy on eBay. So it's still at 22%. So even at best, what we're looking at is if the box EV, let's say it's 130, all right? So the box EV is 130. Say you buy a box of set boosters for 100. Well, after fees and everything else, 22%, you're looking at about, let's say, 30 bucks. So you've basically just broke even to crack open a whole box of set boosters. And like I said, you may get lucky and get a little higher. One of my EVs was a lot lower, so you could actually lose money on the whole case. So that's why mass box openings just aren't happening like they used to. The box EV is just not there anymore. Now, you can make better box EVs if you can get your boxes like as soon as they come out. You know, get onto the market early, get those high prices before people change and the market stabilizes. But that takes a lot of time and attention. And of course, this is my side hustle. I don't do this for a living. I do make a decent amount of money at it, but nowhere that I could actually pay my bills. But it does help me pretty much pay for my next sets. You know, keeps me in the game in case I want to go to a tournament, all that good jazz. So for me, it's worth it. For you, that's something you got to decide. But all in all, with the box EV the way it is, and it's on the set boosters, I don't think you're going to really make any money per se with the set boosters. Now I know that that EV does come with without me taking out 4 of every card. To make my play sets of 4, so the EV may be even lower. That's why the EV is even at 140 or even at 150. I think one was close to 150, which I thought was wrong. I think I probably did the estimates wrong. But regardless, because I take the play sets out, I'm easily jerking out a good chunk of the estimated value, because that means I'm taking 4 of every mythic, 4 of every rare. And yeah, I know the rares aren't worth as much. Some of them are. The only real benefit that gets your box EV a little higher is the fact that if you get enough of one rare and you happen to get some more of that rare, but instead of the normal rare, you get the special, all spiffy rare stuff that are showcase and foil, and that helps get your money back while you get your other cards. But all in all, you're not going to break the bank doing it. For me, I just enjoy the game. I enjoy the cards. I enjoy the hobby. I mean, I collected baseball cards when I was a little kid, and I loved it. Of course, that went under. They're coming back now, but even the old cards I currently have really aren't worth anything. So with that said, that's the basic box value in EV in my personal opinion. Can you buy boxes and get good scores? Yeah, of course you can. I mean, if you hit the Voron collects like on that one video, it's worth like $100. That box is obviously going to be really high. But what are the odds of that? So, on the average, if you want to collect a play set of 4 each, if you like cracking packs and you want to go through all this mess and this extra time and spend your weekends sorting cards and listing on eBay, then maybe this kind of thing is for you. Maybe you should grab 2 or 3 cases. I recommend 3 cases no matter what you pick up, whether it be draft boosters or set boosters, because I found that 3 cases is pretty much the magical sweet spot where you're going to get pretty much everything you need. But to be honest with you, like I mentioned to you guys before, I still had mythics that I had to go buy to finish out the very end of it. Now, there weren't very many mythics, and matter of fact, most of them weren't all that expensive. They're only $2 to $5 a piece. But I have done this before and actually not got any of certain mythics, which means I had to pay out of pocket for them. Now, mind you, you can cover that by selling the extra cards that you get in their place. But once again, as I said before, that doesn't always work out for you. So just try to keep that in mind, guys. The really thing I can say is box EV or not, I think the real defining factor on whether or not you should buy things like this is what's your goal? Are you investing? Are you trying to make a quick profit and flip? Are you looking for chase cards? Like, what is it you're after? What is your purpose? Me, I started doing this. I wanted to get a play set of 4 of everything. And that's what started my passion for it. Now, with that said, like I mentioned before, I was trading, buying packs, doing all that stuff. And it ended up being really hard, especially when I was tight on money. But, you got to do what you got to do. But once I got stabilized and I got into a pretty good rhythm of buying what I needed, taking a couple $100 loss, and then putting that money back in the bank to buy the next couple cases, it became really fun. Mainly because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're cracking these packs, you're basically just gambling. That's all you're doing. Sometimes you hit it big, sometimes you don't. I remember when I first started doing this, it was back during Battle for Zendikar, when they had the chase rares, or not rares, but mythic. What do they call them dang things now? They weren't showcase cards. They were expeditions. Ah, Lord, man, it's a late night. But yeah, I first did it during the expedition time, and I got some cases, you know, that would have like two. One case I got had 3. I was real excited, and I thought it was really cool. I had a lot of fun. Monetary value-wise, though, honestly, I didn't make anything. You know, I got my play sets. I sold the chase cards because I needed the money back. So it wasn't like, I mean, it was fun to pull them, but, I mean, looking back now, I should have kept them all. But anyway, even at the time, I still got a pretty good penny for them, so it's not like it was terrible. But that's what really got me going into it, you know, and trying to use this as kind of like that extra investment everybody always talks about, you know, because you need your 401k, you need this, you need that. But at the same time, you know, you can't put everything in 401k and just not do something for yourself that makes you happy. You know, and this is what makes me happy. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the cards, enjoy the game. And when it's all said and done, I'm hoping one day I'll be able to actually take these cards and sell them to some other investor. Or some player who'll have their fun with them, you know, just like I did when I got them and when I got my old cards. You know, back in the day when I was young, boy, I missed that. Stronghold, Ice Age, Alliances, all that stuff. Man, that was a good time. So, that's all I really got on that kind of topic. Next thing I'd like to talk about is a little bit of Magic news that kind of came out today. It's not, I don't know if you call it news or not. It's more like a spoiler / hint that Rosewater talked about, and that was basically having reserve list cards come out as art cards. Man, does that sound like a thing. I don't know if that's something they're really going to do, but let's be honest, folks, and tell me down in the comment section what you think. But if I was pulling art cards out of a set, and I had a possibility to grab like original pictures of things like Moxes and Lotuses, so forth and so on, just the nostalgia and just the prevalence. I mean, and really honestly, the name alone would just drive that price up so high. So it makes me wonder, like, they probably are not going to do that in a normal set. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to see a return to Ravnica with a set box that's going to have those kind of masterpiece or, you know, the alpha beta stuff in there. Just because it doesn't really make a lot of sense, I don't think. But what I do think would happen if they do art cards, I'm thinking like, you know, the next wave when they start to go back to master sets again, you know, double masters again, or maybe they do art masters, you know, where you can actually get the art cards for all them old ones, you know, like Moxes and Lotuses. Maybe some are gold stamped, maybe some are foiled. I mean, you can't play with them because they're art cards, right? They don't have text or anything on them, and they're not real cards. But I think that would be some serious collectability for the game. And I think that would be so sweet. And man, I just really think that would just turn the market on its heels, just straight upside down if something like that happened. You tell me what you think, but I mean, if they were to do something like that, I'd be all for it. I think the nostalgia and just the fact you could own something like that, and maybe even put a prize in there where, like, you know, one person actually wins the actual artwork painting, you know, or like some kind of Willy Wonka golden ticket. God, that'd be sweet. I mean, imagine the amount of cards and boxes you could sell. Sweet baby Jesus, it'd be phenomenal. I mean, now that I think about it, why wouldn't you do something like that? You hear me, Wizards of the Coast? I know nobody's watching this channel right now as it's new, but by God, I got you a new marketing scheme. It's gonna make you some cash. Just want a small cut, you know, just a small one, so there's that. Where did I leave off at? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that'd be really sweet. I'd really enjoy some art cards like that. I'd like to see art cards from the older sets, just because some of the older sets are really sweet. I don't know if you guys, you know, art like Liliana and stuff like that. That kind of art, it's just too beautiful. I got me a nice Liliana you know, metal foil artist proof signature, you know, that I have to hang on my wall. It's pretty big. It's about the size of a suitcase, and man, is it pretty. And it was a pretty penny as well. So, I mean, I could really see those art cards actually being something, especially if you could get with like an uncut sheet, especially in like foil or something. Wow, that'd just be phenomenal. Oh, man. So, I'm almost done here. So, one last thing I'd like to talk about before I finish this up. Strixhaven, they've already talked about, you know, how there's going to be a house for every color pair, and the color pair are very similar to what we had before, you know, Orzhov, Boros. They're obviously called something else, and I forget what it is off the top of my head now, but that's obviously going to be a thing. So the pre-release kits are going to actually be like that again. And if you guys remember back when Ravnica was around, or the last Ravnica, whichever one that was, they did the same thing, and it was really fun, except, you know, after the first pre-release, you pretty much knew, hey, if I want a good one, you know, I need to pull these colors, or I need to play this guild. Didn't always happen that way, because you didn't always get the support cards that you needed, but I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, is it good? Is it bad? No one really knows. I mean, it is just for fun. So, I mean, I really don't care too much. However, though, that does also mean that they're going to have to open Magic stores back up, you know, to actually play these pre-releases, because, you know, depending on what those kits are, some people ain't going to buy some of them, and that's just going to make some worth more and some not. But I think the last thing I want to talk about, once I talked about that, is another question I get asked is, after rotation, are these cards going to tank in the market? Just so you guys know, all standard cards normally tank at rotation. Whether they're good or not, mainly because if they're not already in a really good deck, then nobody sees a use for them. They don't get any play, so the price goes down. I mean, it's pretty much supply and demand, just at its simplest form. But with that said, if you do what I'm doing like this right now, and you're not worried about, oh, I got to sell it because the price is going to go down, and you just keep it, eventually, you know, they will print other cards. It will make other cards worth money. And you'll actually be able to recoup your losses. Like, for example, you look at Battle for Zendikar, you know, forever, you know, because of the whole expedition thing, people did mass box open and try and get those expeditions. I mean, just printed to oblivion, everybody said. I mean, the rares were dollars. Even the good rares were $2 or $3. And I mean, like, Gideon and stuff, like, for $2, just because it was just, there were just so many of them out there. And, it was just rough. But with that in mind, one thing you might want to remember is, you know, Battle's been out for a while, out of rotation. But if you look at some of the cards in it, you've got cards like Gideon creeping up past the $5 mark again. You know, you've got Ulamog and stuff up in the 20s and 30s. Heck, when Pioneer was first previewed, look what happened to, what is that? Dang it. Inverter of Truth. That thing went through the roof. The price of the sets went through the roof. Heck, it made Theros boxes worth money. And that, I mean, that was something I thought I'd never see. So yeah, when they rotate, the price will drop. My suggestion on that is, if you don't want to carry sets like I do, just for investment reasons and to keep playing as the days go on, I would always sell 6 months to a year before. Because honestly, once you get 6 months close to a rotation and all the stores know it, they automatically drop the prices in their buy list, because they know you want to get rid of them. They know nobody's going to buy them. Unless they're really hot money cards, they're just not going to do you right. That's why I decided that, you know, I'm better off just to keep them and wait for the price to go back up. A good example, too, like Return of Ravnica, Pithing Tithe, or whatever it is. Smothering Tide, that's it, Smothering Tide. Things like a $20 rare now, right? I was selling that thing for like $1. I feel like a retard. But, I mean, that's the comes and goes of it, right? So, sometimes you just got to stick with it. So, I want to thank you guys a lot. It's a long video. Sorry about that. I'm not going to do the rares today because, like I said, I'm still waiting for a couple to come in. So, thanks a lot for your time, guys. I really do appreciate it. Remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channels. Don't forget, I got 6 more boxes of draft boosters coming in, so that'll be at least a whole nother week of content coming up here shortly. I'm hoping it'll be in by the weekend so I can get started. That way, when I'm off work, I can open a couple boxes in a row for you. It'd be pretty sweet. And then, of course, I'll do the draft case versus the actual set case, give you some EVs, money value wise, things like that. Also, too, if you guys watched my last video, I did a quick double masters opening. I'm trying to get some commander draft boxes to open. My supplier is currently out. I got some from him, but just to be honest with you, I'm saving those for an investment. I'm not going to open them because the price on those have went up really quick because of supply and demand. So if I can get a couple more cases off of him, I'll open probably a case of Commander Legends just for giggles of draft. But I do have one more of these that's not in a case that I'm going to open probably sometime next week or this week or after the draft. Depends on when I get bored and how itchy I am to open something. So thanks a lot, guys. Once again, appreciate you guys listening to me rant and rave while I sort these cards here. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. Really do appreciate any support you guys can give me. And as always, sit down at the table, play some Magic with your friends and family. And remember, guys, be nice, be kind. You only live once. Let's try to enjoy this thing, huh? Talk to you guys later.